Hey guys, sorry I'm late tonight. I had to mow the lawn. In fact, I don't know if you guys can see, I was doing the weed whacker thing, kind of cleaning the lawn a little bit, and I kicked up a rock and hit myself in the face. So, yeah, I should have read before I mowed the lawn, huh? So, we left off Friday. We finished chapter 13, and now chapter 14. This is called The Missing Key. This is one of those interesting ones. As far as the story goes. So, Omri's brother was already sitting at the tea table when the boys rushed in. "Hi, what's for tea?" Omri asked automatically. When they say tea time in England, that's kind of like an afternoon snack. They do have tea, but they usually have like cookies or little sandwiches with it before, like in the middle of the afternoon. It's kind of like getting a snack when you get home from lunch, or from school, I mean. "Hi, what's for tea?" Omri asked automatically. Gillen and Adil didn't answer. Adil had a funny smirk on his face, and Omri hardly noticed. "Let's make a sandwich to eat it upstairs," he suggested to Patrick. They slapped some peanut butter on a bread, poured mugs of milk, and hurried up the stairs to Omri's room, whispering all the way. "How long does it take?" "Only a few minutes. Can I see her?" "Wait till we get upstairs." Omri opened the door and stopped dead. The white medicine cupboard was gone. "Where is it?" gasped Patrick. Omri didn't say a word. He turned and rushed downstairs again, and Patrick behind him. "Okay, where have you hidden it?" he shouted as soon as he burst into the kitchen. "I don't know what you're referring to," said Adil loftily. "Yes, you do. You've taken my cupboard." "And supposing I did? It was only to teach you a lesson. You always take things and are hiding them. Now you'll see how funny it is. It isn't." He said that differently there. When did I take anything of yours? Tell me one thing in the last month." "My football shorts," said Adil promptly. "I never touched your stupid shorts. I already swore I hadn't." "I had to miss games again today because I didn't have them, and I got a detention for it. So you can be grateful I'm only punishing you a little bit and not bashing you in," said Adil with a maddening calm. Omri felt so furious he even wondered for a moment whether it was worth bashing Adil in. But Adil was enormous and it was hopeless. So after gazing at him for another moment with hate-filled eyes, Omri turned and dashed upstairs again, almost falling over Patrick on the way. "What'll you do?" "Look for it, of course." But he was turning Adil's room upside down like a madman when Adil, slowly mounting the stairs in the direction of his homework, heard the racket and came up. He stood in the doorway looking at the shambles of pulled-out drawers, gutted cupboards, and furniture pulled apart. "You little swine!" he howled and dived at Omri. Omri fell to the ground with Adil on top. "I'll tear everything you've got into pieces till you give it back to me," Omri shouted in jerks as Adil stood and pummeled him. "Then cough up my shorts." "I haven't got your stinking shorts," screamed Omri. "Are these them?" asked a small little voice in the background. Adil and Omri stopped fighting, and Adil, sitting astride, twisted his neck to see Patrick was just lifting a crumpled navy blue object from behind the radiator. The radiator is a type of heater that they had. Omri felt the anger go out of Adil. "Oh, yes, as a matter of fact, how did they get there?" But Omri knew perfectly well how. Adil had hung them there to dry, and they dropped off backward. Adil scrambled up, looking distinctly sheepish. He even helped Omri to his feet. "Well, but you have hidden things in the past," he mumbled. "How was I to know? Can I have my cupboard now?" "Yes, it's up in the attic. I piled a whole bunch of stuff on it." Omri and Patrick took the stairs to the attic, two at a time. They found the cupboard quite quickly, under a heap of bits and pieces. But Omri had carried it down to his room again before he made a fatal discovery. The key! The little twisted key with its red satin ribbon was missing. Once again, Omri ran into Adil's room to find Adil uncomplainingly putting things straight. "What happened to the key?" "What key?" "There was a key in the cupboard with a red ribbon." "I didn't notice." They went out and they closed the door. Omri was now feeling desperate. "We've got to find it. It doesn't work without the key." They searched the attic until supper time. Never had Omri so clearly seen the point of all his mother's urgings to keep everything in its proper place. The attic was just sort of a hole where they could play and have a total mess, and that was what they always did, only clearing spaces when they needed them for a new layout for some special game. And their way of cleaning was just to shove things aside into ever more chaotic heaps. Underneath the heaps, there were a myriad of little oddments, and I gotta start over. There's a lot of big words right here. Underneath the heaps were all the myriad little oddments that were small enough to filter through the bigger things: marbles, wheels of matchbox cars, bits of Lego, small tools, parachute men, cards, and so on. Plus all sorts of fragments that could have almost been anything. At first they raked through everything, but after a while Omri realized that they would have to clear up systematically. Otherwise it would be like old saying about looking for a needle in a haystack. He found some boxes and they began sorting things into them. Lego here, parts of games there, water pistols, tricks, and novelties in the other. Bigger things they stacked neatly into what his father bitterly called the shelves provided, which normally stood empty since everything was just left on the floor. In an amazingly short time, the floor was clear, except for a few odd things that they hadn't found homes for, and a great deal of mud, dust, and sand. "Where did all this come from?" asked Patrick. "Oh, Gillen's brought boxes of it up here from the garden to make a desert scene. Months ago. We might as well sweep it up." He looked around. Despite his anxiety about the key, he felt a certain pride. The room looked entirely different. There was a real playing space now. He went downstairs and fetched a broom, a dustpan, and a soft brush. "We'll have to do this carefully," he said. "It would be terrible if we threw it away in the sand." "We could sieve it," suggested Patrick. "That's a good idea, in the garden." They carried the sand out in a cardboard box, and Omri borrowed his father's large garden sieve. A sieve is like a box that has a screen that if you pour sand or dirt into it, large things will stay on it. A lot of people would take dirt and they dig it up and then they pour it through the sieve so that just the dirt comes through and all the rocks stay out of it, especially if you're planting a garden or something like that. Let's see. Omri held it, and Patrick spooned the sand and earth with a trowel. A trowel is a small shovel. Several small treasures came to light, such as 10 pence piece, but no key. Omri was in despair. He and Patrick sat down on the lawn under a tree, and Omri took the two little men out of his pocket. "Where a woman?" Little Bear asked instantly. "Never mind the women, where's the victuals?" asked the ever-hungry Boone grumpily. Omri and Patrick fed them some more chocolate, and with a deep sense of misery, Omri produced the plastic Indian from his pocket. Little Bear stopped chewing his chocolate the moment he saw her and gazed in rapture. It was obvious he was half in love with her already. He reached out a hand and touched her plastic hair. "Make real now," he breathed. "I can't," said Omri. "Why can't?" asked Little Bear sharply. "The magic's gone." Now Boone stopped eating too, and he and Little Bear exchanged a frightened look. "You mean you can't send us back?" asked Boone in an awe-stricken whisper. "Never? We gotta live in a giant's world forever?" It was clear that Little Bear had been explaining matters. "Don't you like being with us?" asked Patrick. "Well, I wouldn't want to hurt your feelings none," said Boone. "But just think how you'd feel if I was as big as you and you were me." "Little Bear?" asked Omri. Little Bear dragged his eyes away from the plastic figure and fixed on them, like little bright crumbs of black glass on Omri. "Omri good," he pronounced at last. "But Little Bear brave, Indian chief. How be brave, how be chief with no other Indians?" Omri opened his mouth. If he had not lost the key, he might have rashly offered to bring to life an entire tribe of Indians simply to keep Little Bear happy. Through his mind flashed the knowledge of what this meant. It wasn't the fun, the novelty, the magic that mattered anymore. What mattered was that Little Bear should be happy. For that, he would take on almost anything. They all sat quietly on the lawn, and there seemed nothing more to say. I'm going to leave off right there. Tomorrow, we'll probably get through the rest of chapter 14 and be able to work towards finishing out the story to see how it ends. So, if I recall correctly, they're going to find that key again. I don't want to give away how, but there's part of the story coming up that's pretty cool. So, hope you guys have a great night. See you later.